It was 10 years ago that in 2014 Russia started its military aggression against Ukraine. 10 years ago, Russia occupied Crimea, and thus shaking all the security architecture in Europe, and it was Crimea where the war of Russia against Ukraine started. And it was at that time that in March 2014, the Crimean Tatar activist Reshat Ametov was tortured to death by the Russians, which was the first victim of this war. And at that time, in March 2014, the first Ukrainian military person, Serhiy Kokurin, was killed, and in 2014 Ukraine had no power to on its own stop the aggression, and the world decided to ignore the aggression. And in 8 years, in 2022, the sole permissiveness turned into the second biggest war since World War II. This timeline has showed us what is Russia. Russia is a regime that feeds on war. So our only option today is struggle and win together. We know that today, in 10 years after the beginning of the Russian-Ukrainian war, we have reliable allies that will not with us as and I believe that this war started in Crimea, and it will end in Russia's defeat in Crimea as well. So we're glad to welcome everyone who's fighting for just peace, recovery of international law and world order. Today we're opposing the Russian aggressor, and we're investing into a collective security of the world. We need to unite our efforts around the formula of peace by President Zelensky, and it's important that every line item of that formula be implemented. It's important to continue with our pressure on Russia, especially when it comes to economically significant sectors, when it comes to the financial and military sector, metallurgy, nuclear and chemical industry should be also added along with agriculture. Modern technologies do not have a place in Russia. We need to block all the possible loopholes for circumvention. International business has to stop financing the aggressor country by working in Russia. And we can only achieve this if we reduce Russia's economic capacity to continue this war and use its economy. Therefore, another element of justice is punishment to the aggressor, and these two elements are interconnected. The freezing of Russian assets should be the main resource for Ukraine's recovery. In the last 2.5 years, we've gone a long way in this direction, and the decision of G7 that the frozen assets should work towards Ukraine's victory. $50 billion will be the proceeds that are expected that we're going to get, that will contribute to our economic recovery. What Russia has destroyed will be restored, and the transfer of this money will be a big step, but not the ultimate step, and we're going to go for full confiscation of frozen assets and full compensation for all the damage that the aggressor, the enemy, caused us. We understand that Ukraine's recovery will become one of the biggest projects since World War II, and we're sure that the freed Ukrainian Crimea will be one of the key gravity centers of our military and economic recovery. Last year I mentioned 5 line items for the recovery of the Crimean Peninsula, and that will be a transformation of Crimea into one of the tourism pearls in Europe. That will be the inclusion of this peninsula into a network of transport corridors that unite Europe, Asia, and the South. And this is also the building up of an energy infrastructure, especially focusing on the energy of wind and sun, and also the sea shelf. That will be the recovery of a local agrarian potential capacity and also the transformation of Crimea into a powerful IT cluster. Today, all these areas still remain absolutely relevant, but I only want to add just one more line item to that list, and that's the inclusion, together with the rest of Ukraine's territories, into the EU and NATO. I'm sure that this purpose, this goal will be a reality as a must. Dear friends, dear ladies and gentlemen, it's very important that we have all-inclusive support from you to stand in this struggle. This will make closer the moment of liberation of our territories, including Crimea. Financial support caters for the stability of our economy, keeping basic social guarantees and recover. That allows us our destroyed cities and villages. We're grateful to everyone who gives us such support. That's an investment into safe and peaceful Europe. That's investments into the world order where they respect everybody's borders and international law. As long as Russia is continuing this bloody aggression and keeps controlling part of the Ukrainian territories, the world cannot feel safe. We need your unity, we need your determination, and we need your assistance to stand together and to achieve just peace. The aggressor must be responsible for their crime, and Crimea will return to Ukraine. And glory to Ukraine. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister.